Hello again, Dustin Thompson from the Sierra Club Delaware chapter here again to talk about this rate case coming up on August 19th. You can attend online or in person down in Dover, and we will share the link in the comments. But a short link that you can use is tinyurl.com/PSCAUG19 to learn more about the hearing. I wanted to show an example of an electric bill so you can see exactly the impact of these interim rate increases that were approved and what they're having on the bill, knowing though that this is only 50% of the increase that was requested overall that will be made if the full case is approved by the Public Service Commission, also known as the PSC. Now, in this video, I want to point out here where the Distribution System Improvement Charge, the DSIC charge, was on your bill and where it is now. It's hidden, since we got a lot of questions about that in our last video and with the fact sheet. I also want to show exactly what on your bill will be increased with the various components of the rate case and what those increases go towards. Now, finally, this bill that I'm going to share is interesting and highlights an example of why we passed one particular piece of legislation this year, and I want to show you exactly a good example of a bill that has this issue so you can see if you're having this issue and so you can start saving some money immediately by resolving that issue. So let's get into it. All right, so here we have two electric bills. We have the one over here on the right side is from 729, so that is the bill from, as it says, July. And here on the left side, we have a bill from 827, as it says, for August. So this person gets both their gas and electric through Delmarva Power in terms of their delivery. But one interesting fact about their supply on the electric side that we'll get to in a second. All right, so let's look at this old bill. This is the old bill over here, and we're going to be looking at these delivery charges for the moment. So in this old bill here, you have this line item that says DSIC, right? DSIC, DSIC. That's the distribution system improvement charge. And you can see that on this bill, it was at 7.5%, which is the cap. In previous bills, it was 7.05%. So they added, before they brought this case forward, they added some more stuff into this bucket. It was about $3.84 on this person's bill. Now you see over here on the new bill, now this is sort of split, which isn't helpful for me in this video, but you can see that under your delivery charges here, right, we have delivery charges, we have delivery charges. There's no more DSIC, there's no more DSIC. So where did that go? Well, it went right here. It went right into this number right there. So you can see that this number here is now higher than this number over here. So part of the reason why that the number is higher in August than it was in July is because this 7.5%, roughly $3.84 in this bill, is now baked into this distribution charge, right? So they asked for an increase in this distribution charge plainly, and they wanted to empty out this DSIC bucket into the distribution rate base. And so you'll see in August, you don't have this DSIC charge anymore, which I think was the reason for some folks' confusion. They were looking for that on their bill and it's not there anymore because it's already been dumped into this on an interim basis. Now, if the PSC comes back and they say, no, we're not going to approve you emptying that bucket, you have to keep it in there, then that will come back onto your bill and be broken out as a separate line item again. But now on the interim increase, it's been dumped into this bucket. So what does that mean? Well, it means, first of all, that they can put this back on your bill at any time and start ramping back up to 7.5% in the future, and that's really without much oversight. And so because it's gone away, it doesn't mean it's gone forever. It just means there's not currently anything in that bucket. Once the utility starts spending money in that bucket, you'll see that charge come back onto your bill and start ramping back up to 7.5%. Also, it means that now that it's in this number, because remember, this number from previous videos, This number is what the utility earns a profit off of. And so everything that's in this charge, right, and in these two lines is what the utility makes a profit off of. And so by emptying that bucket into this base rate, now they make a profit, a return on their investment. Another thing to note, customer charge used to be at $3.50. Now this charge here, I believe it's prorated at $14.49. And so you have an increase in your customer charge as well. I don't believe that that is the full increase. There will be additional costs coming on that line item as well. In addition, it's important to note that one thing that is not on this bill, that is in the rate case that we talked about in our fact sheet, we talked about in our videos, is that bad debt rider, right? So these down here, these are what's called riders, right? These are additional costs on your bill that are volumetric usually. All of these in this case, and the bad debt is likely to be volumetric as well. That are not associated with the actual delivery of power or the supply of power. These are usually societal benefit programs that are put into place by the legislature or in place by the PSC. In the case of the bad debt rider, it would be by the PSC. And notice what did not go up from the last rate case to this rate case. None of these charges went up. And so you're not seeing any difference in the base cost of these charges. Now, we talked about the low income discount program. Now that you see on this bill here, this higher bill, the low income charge is about 10 cents. In this smaller, lower bill from July, it's about 8 cents. The low-income discount program would be paid for in this line item, and it would cost 10 cents a month. So instead of 10 cents, this would be 20 cents. Aside from that, there's nothing else in the rate case that would impact any of these charges, which you can see are a very small percentage of the overall cost for this person on their bill. Okay, so I promised the one other thing that you might be dealing with that could save you some potential money. I want you to notice the supply box here on these bills. Both of these bills signify that supply is coming from this company, this Ambit Northeast supply company based out of Irving, Texas. What this means, what this tells me, is that this person is using a third-party supplier, because normally this would be Delmarva Power's. This is where you would see the supply from Delmarva Power, not from Ambit Northeast Energy. And so this person has signed up for a third-party supplier. Now, I've talked to this person about this. They don't actually remember when they signed up for a third-party supplier. They believe it's been possibly multiple years that they have been using a third-party supplier. But what I want you to look at is how much they're charging for electricity. Now, we did the math for this person, and in July, if they would have had Delmarva Power, they would have saved as their supply, right, instead of this Ambient Northeast, they would have paid around $58 less in supply this month. So it would have been under $100 for supply. Now, in August, that number jumped up to nearly $68. So it would have been, in the 100 teens range rather than the 180s range. And that's a relatively simple thing. They called the customer service number and they went online and they got out of it. And so they're no longer on a third-party supplier. And this third-party supplier is not even a clean energy supplier. It's just you're buying the same fossil fuel, mostly based energy that anybody else is buying just through Delmarva Power. So it really was no benefit for this person, even if they wanted to pay a little bit more for clean energy. They wouldn't be doing it through Ambit Northeast through the service that they had signed up for. They may have other services, but not the one that they signed up for. And so here you have an example of where you would see whether or not you have a third-party supplier or if you're getting your power through Delmarva Power. This person, the supply, has somebody other than Delmarva Power, and so you know that it is a third-party supplier. So if you have on your bill in the supply box, anybody outside of Delmarva Power supplying your electricity, you should get out of that third-party supplier. Now, we passed a bill this year that says, hey, third-party suppliers, you are no longer allowed to charge people anything more than what they would be paying have they used Delmarva Power as their supplier, unless they agree to it for renewable energy purposes only. We also made it so they can't auto-renew you and sign you up for a contract that you didn't agree to, and they cannot use variable rates. So you see on this month, they don't tell you how much they charged you, right? On this month, they say it was 17.5 cents per kilowatt hour. Notice that you don't see that over here. And that's likely because this was a variable rate month. There wasn't a static rate like there was from June to July, because that heat wave probably threw things into chaos in the markets. And so they pay even more in August because of that variable rate. Well, they can't do that anymore. They can have winter and summer rates like Delmarva Power does, but that's it. So we did a lot, and there was a whole bunch of other stuff we did on third-party supply this year in that bill. Hats off to Representative Heffernan and others that put that bill forward to rein in third-party suppliers. But the key here is, the key takeaway is, if you see somebody other than Delmarva Power and you don't remember signing up for a third-party supplier, get in contact, use that phone number, use that website, look them up online and find their website and get out of that contract. And if they don't let you out, contact the public advocate at public.advocate@delaware.gov and let them know what you're dealing with so that we can get these bad actors out of our state. So that's what I wanted to talk about and show you in this bill here. I hope this has helped clarify a little bit about where the things are or would be if this rate case were to go through, and the impact that we're already seeing on electric bills from that increase. Again, on this bill is about $3.84 being shifted up into the distribution charge. Some folks a little bit higher than that, some folks a little bit lower than that. So I hope this was helpful. Everybody have a great day, and I hope to see you on August 19th, virtual or in person, for the Public Service Commission hearing. It's a public comment session, I should say. I keep saying hearing. Public comment session on this rate case before the PSC. I hope you make it a great day.